Mahao. So it is the 17th of May, class 7. So we've got 2 more left. So let's start with the warm-ups. So I will imagine that I'm mirroring you, and we'll just go through the sequence, and I'll slow down a little bit when we get to the changes. Starting feet shoulder width apart and looking to left and right, 2 8 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. Forward, back. 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4. Side to side. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. Flapping palms. 7, 8. So arms in front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. Flapping out. 7, 8. So we're going to be flapping this way. Feel the springiness that we were talking about last week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. Flapping out. 7, 8. So from the chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4. Shoulders twist. 7, 8. Start with the palms forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 2, 3, 4. Twisting back. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. Arms push apart. 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. Flapping palms. 7, 8. Some more nice springy soft movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. Flap at the side. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. Push up, stoop down. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4. Flap left and right. 7, 8. So try not to move your hips, just move your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Flap in front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 2, 3, 4. Arm stretch, rotate. So step to your left-hand side corner, arms outstretched, and turning a tap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. To the right. So step to the other corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. Clenched fist jump. Step, step. So now we're going to do this whole series always starting on the left leg. Legs always start on the left, go to the right. Clenched fist jump is the first one, so it'll be like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. Heel step out. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4. Push up and down. 7, 8. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. Back step, swing out. 7, 8. So starting on the left leg, right foot touches behind you. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4. Back step, pull down. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3. Back, that back hands clap. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4. Tiptoe back swing. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4. Marching step. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, and 8 more. 7, 8. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and stop. There we are. Good. And Marion has joined us. Hey, Marion. So where we are, let's just review. Last week in standing practice, we did empty stance. This week, we'll start working on one leg stance. We practiced footwork, we practiced waist, and we will do that again this week. In the theory interlude, we talked about the practice method called relax. And in the arm movement work that we did the open and closed. So we'll practice that again. And this week, we will actually do another arm movement, which actually those who know the form will be familiar. It's ward off and roll back. But you don't need to know the form to do those movements. So let us begin with our standing practice. So we're going to let's just start with our straight stance, just to remind ourselves of what the requirements are. So feet shoulder width or a bit wider if you like. As you stand there, check the weight on your feet. So you want weight slightly forward onto the ball, but also on the heel. You can't lift either easily. We call that weight over the bubbling well. Weight even on the inside and outside of your feet. That we call crotch rounded. Now bend your knees and feel that you're stacked from your hips to the top of the head to between the feet. And you might want to fold forward slightly at the hip crease to make sure that you get that weight distribution even front back on the legs. Then we'll open the arms and keep working up from the hips. So the first one would be relax the waist. So drop the hips straight down, drop the tailbone straight down to extend your lower back, open and extend. That's what relax means. That's up and down, left to right. Feel your elbows extending away from your shoulders and your spine to open your back from left to right, like a bow is being opened horizontally. Now sink the shoulders down the back of the ribs and drop your elbows. So feel there's a soft piece of string just with a weight pulling down your elbows. Hands are looking good, so fingertips gently open. The width of the palm is roughly the same as the width of the fingers. So everybody's looking good there. And the last one is head up. So feel your head is pushing up, but it's not just pushing, it's also a feeling of being suspended. The whole of your body is suspended from the neck. So your head is light, your middle body is agile, your lower body is sinking down. And we do this to improve our breathing. So see if you can notice as you breathe in, your belly expands, and as you breathe out, it contracts. So that kind of breath that we have when we're sleeping is what we want when we're practicing. And standing practice is a way to train the body without the distractions of moving in breathing properly. And release. So let's try empty stance. So perform an empty stance, one foot to the corner, the other foot center line to sides, so either side of this yellow line. Let's do a ball touch. 70% on the back leg, so your hip is over your back foot Your torso is folded forward slightly, arms are rounded to the side. Your nose is pointing to the front in the same direction your front foot, but your chest is open. So let's do this for a minute. Same posture essentials. Head is up, feeling the rest of your body suspended. Shoulders are sinking, elbows are dropping. Chest is absorbed, so feel the elbows pulling out, opening your back. And relax the waist, so drop the hips down. Check your weight, so push forward and back a little bit. The front foot you're just touching with the ball, but you want 30% of the weight there so that you can do push and support into the back leg. So let's change. So bring the front foot back, shift the weight, use your waist to move your center of gravity over. Center line to sides on the other side. So head up, elbows dropping, shoulders sinking. Absorb the chest. Feel those elbows opening. Feel your fingertips pulling at the elbow, so your arms are like the surface of a balloon or a ball. Now relax, i.e. open and extend your lower back by dropping your hips down. Check that you're folded forward slightly in the direction of your front foot and see what your breathing is like. This is not a posture we're used to spending time in, so it might take a little while for your breath to become as easy here as it is when we do the normal parallel starts. Now let's change. Bring the first foot in. Let's go back and start in empty stance ball touch. Now we're going to start doing straight leg stance. So straighten the back leg. The front foot will come backwards. For now, just keep your front foot there in case you need it for balance. There's essentially, let's say 1% of your weight is on the front foot. Your chest is open, actually more than corner, but your nose is pointing towards the front foot. Your leg, your standing leg is straight but not locked, but all the requirements apply. So here you have weight over the bubbling well in that standing foot, even front, back, and then left, right. Waist is relaxed, so your hips are dropping straight down. You've still got your chest absorbed, still shoulders sinking, still have the head up. And let's change. So bend the back leg. So sit down. Feel as if you're sitting down onto a bar stool. Bring the front foot backwards so they're both pointing to the corner. Change. Go into your empty stance to begin with. Now straighten the back leg. And this is one leg stance. We're not working on balance. That's why we're keeping the foot available to correct balance. If you have balance problems, feel free to use a chair to hang on to. It's not here about balance, it's about posture. So feel your head extending up. Feel shoulders dropping, elbows sinking. Feel your chest absorbed. Feel the waist relaxed. And release. Let me just show you where we're headed with the one leg stance. The canonical one leg stance, obviously you're standing on one leg, the other leg is up. And you can see that my front leg is towards the straight direction, my toe is towards the corner, my chest is opened more than corner. If I'm in this direction, you can perhaps, let's try this one. You can see that what we're trying to do is the toe is pointing down. This you want to feel crotch rounded, and your front leg actually is tilted slightly in. So it's not hanging straight down, it's actually tilted slightly in so that you can feel crotch rounded there as well. Next week, and if you want this week, start in this stance, touching with the foot. Bring the foot back and just touch with the tip of your toe. And then gradually you can try doing it all on one leg, but that comes gradually. So that's our standing practice. We'll spend time on this one-leg stance for the next two classes as well. Are there any questions about that?
Yeah.
Marion?
So I heard you say that when you're gonna, I think you said when your knee is up, your chest is more than corner.
Yeah,
That's because of the kicks that we'll be doing?
yes.
Okay.
The reason, if you think about, then this is for people who know the form. If you think about your arms, your
Mhm.
front arm is to the straight, your back arm is to the back corner. So your chest
Right,
will be more than corner if it's,
right. I forgot that.
yeah.
So I had another question earlier, which was about when we were in the empty stance with our ball touch and our circles, we're making a circle to the side looking straight. When we do say embrace the tiger and we go into grasping the bird's tail, we want to line up our leg with our arm and our angle. Everything is lined up over the same leg, and that's really typical of striking. When we do a circle and we have our chest is to the corner, do we want to try to line up our elbow with our left leg as the side of the circle, or is that
So
important?
yeah, so your question is, when we're doing this posture, do we try and think about the upper arm and the lower arm? I wouldn't worry about that. I
Okay.
would essentially just focus on actually getting your body shape right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
You.
good. Thank you, Marion. So let us actually apply what we've been doing to the opening and closing movement. So we haven't done this one for a week or two. So we're going to start feet shoulder width apart, arms by the side of the legs. And breathing in, we're going to rotate and lift the arms to shoulder height. And then starting at the shoulders, then the elbows, then the palms, press down, finish with the palms in front of the hips, pause for a moment, and then finish. And so this is opening and closing. What I'd like you to do as we do this now is to apply some of the things that we've been doing in recent weeks. So last week we talked about relax, and relax is feeling everything is connected. So now as you do this, try and as you do this, feel your whole body extended, feel the arms extended, feel the opening of the joints, the muscles, gaps between the bones. And you can do that in, of course, any part of the form, and you should, but let's do it here. So, and I'll turn this direction so you can see a different angle. So thinking about relax, open, rotate and lift to the top, pressing down, starting at the shoulders, pressing down, then the elbows, wrists, keeping the palm parallel as you get to just in front of the hips, and close. And again, breathing in, rotate and lift. Feel that extension, but don't be stiff. Just try and soften into the extension and opening. Something else that we've been learning, we've been working on waist movements. So when we were changing our footwork here, we were using the left-right waist movement. Here in this movement, we're actually using forward-back waist movements. We say that the arm movements actually come from the waist. So when we raise the arms, actually it's the waist pushing out as the arms come up, and then the waist coming back to bring the arms down. It's almost like it's a whip starting in your lower back and it's showing up in your hands. So let's do that. Try to think as your hands come up, your chest, your midriff coming out, and as the hands come down, midriff going back. So prepare. and open. Chest comes out. As you turn around, it comes back. And finish. And again, feel open. Rotate and lift the arms. Midriff comes forward. As the arms come down, midriff comes back. As you put the hands back, it returns to the neutral position. And stop. Okay. So let us do our footwork practice. So I will actually imagine that we're all facing the screen over there. I'm going to sort of start over here and go sort of forward and to my right, probably. You're going to have to accommodate to whatever space you're in. But let's just string together some of these movements. Before we start, one of the things I'd like you to think about is where your weight is. So we're going to shift our weight as we move. We're always shifting our weight. And we talk about empty and full. So when I'm, for example, when I'm in a bow stance, I've got more weight on my front leg than my back. When I change, all the weight is now on this standing leg. I step out and I shift weight from the back to the front. So now the other leg is in front and it is now full. So pay attention to the shifting backwards and forwards. And Rebecca has joined us. Welcome. Okay. Let's start in parallel stance. And if you wish, you can have your arms up to help you think about body movement. So shift your weight slightly to the left, open the right toe, shift your weight over. We're going to go into a bow stance. Step out into a bow stance, pushing with the back leg, shift the weight forward. So you're now in a bow stance, 60% on the front, 40 on the back, torso folded forward in line with the back leg. Let's turn 90 degrees to the right. Shift weight back slightly. Turn your left toe to the corner. Shift your weight all the way onto the left foot. That is now full. Step out with the right foot, pushing with the left. Move your weight over to the right. Let's do a bow stance, bow step, but going in a straight line. So now shift your weight back slightly, open the right foot, shift your weight through. Now the right foot is full, step out, shift forward weight into a bow stance. Let's turn around and go back the way we came. Because we're going to turn the front foot through 135 degrees, shift your weight all the way back, pivot on the left heel, 135 degrees, shift all your weight over onto the left heel, step out, heel, ball, toe, bend knee. Let's do a few more. And let's just do walking in a straight line away, sort of towards the screen. So we're going to start in a left bow stance, shift weight back, open the left toe, step through, heel touch, back foot bends, and finish. And again, shift weight back, open the right toe, step forward, your chest opens all the way to the right. Now push with the back foot, flatten the foot, keep pushing, bend the knee, and finish folded. Now let's go into an empty stance, turn through 90 degrees. Shift your weight back slightly, pivot on the left heel, pick up the right foot, put it down, center line two sides, let's say ball touch. I'm just going to reset. Let's do a few of these. So we're going to go to another empty stance. Remember, when I'm in a ball touch, I have to pick my foot up and put the heel down. I don't just rock my foot back. So shift your weight back slightly, pick up the right foot, put down the heel, shift your weight over, land on the ball with the left foot. Let's do another one. Pick up the left foot, put down the left heel, shift your weight over, and ball touch. Now, with the Empty stance, we can do multiple empty steps going in a straight line. We call that Taiji walking. Let's try that. So let's start in an empty stance. I'm in an empty stance with my left leg forward. I'm on the heel. Now I'm going to open my left heel to the corner, shift my weight through, and land on the heel, but I'm going to put my heel as pointing to the right-hand side corner, keep shifting my weight, and you'll see your chest goes to the right. Put the foot down, center line to side, shift the weight forward, and keep walking. You're probably running out of space, so let's go back and try something else. So we can go from a bow stance to an empty stance and back to a bow stance. So one way to do that is, let's say I'm in an empty stance. It can be either a ball touch or a heel touch. If I want to go to a bow stance, shift my weight back slightly, pick up this front foot, wider to a bow stance, and shift forward into a bow. And I can come back into an empty stance by shifting my weight back, picking up the front foot, and just putting it back down. I can do the same on the other side. I'm in an empty stance, pick up the foot, put it down, bow stance width, come forward in a bow, and come back. Pick it up, put it down. Now, there's another way to change from a bow stance to an empty stance, which is, so the one that we've just done is where we bring the front foot back. What we can also do is bring the back foot forward, where actually the back foot comes in. So that's what we're going to do now. So let's say we're in a bow stance, left bow stance, so left leg forward. I'm going to bring my right foot in, center line to sides. I'm going to push off with the ball of my left foot, pick up the left foot, land with the heel. Let's go into a bow stance. Shift my weight over to the left, move your weight in the direction of the foot, step out, in a bow stance. Now we're going to go into an empty stance. Bring the back foot to center line to sides. This time push off with the heel and land with the ball. And the last thing that we haven't done is, in the same way that we can do multiple steps with empty stance, we can do multiple steps, let's say going from a bow stance with a transitional step to a bow stance. So let's do that. So I'm going to start in a bow stance. I'm going to start in a left bow stance. I'm going to take an intermediate step, which is always center line to sides, and I'm going to end up in a bow stance again. So let's try that. So I'm in a left bow stance with a transition step into another left bow stance. Shift weight back slightly, open the left toe, bring the back foot through center line to sides, heel touch, move forward the weight, and step out into a bow stance. We can do it on the other side too. So here we are in a right bow stance, so right leg forward. I'm going to shift my weight back, open the right toe, the transition step, center line to sides, just the other side of the yellow line with the left foot, step through, and then heel ball toe on the right. And you can mix and match endlessly for this. I've just done a few. We'll just do a few of these every week, and maybe you can find time in the course of the week to practice these again. Are there any questions? Rebecca, great to see you. Welcome. Okay, so before we talk about before we do our waist practice, one of the things I want to talk about actually is sort of our theory for the day, which is energy. And this is beginning to be more advanced, and I will just give you an outline, and we are already working on some of it, but I want to give you the context. So when we talk about the progression of learning, we say there are 3 stages. The first is, or 3 parts, understand the reason. That's all this talk about theory. The second is know your body, and that's what all these classes are about. And then the third is developing the ability to apply what you know in your body to a martial arts situation. So that's practicing with an opponent. Know your body could also be practicing with an opponent. Now, there's another perspective on how our practice develops, and that also comes in three parts. The first is movements are familiar. So the first thing you achieve is the movements are so familiar that you don't have to think about them. The next thing you achieve is that you really understand energy, and that's what I'll talk about today. And then the third stage, which I imagine only masters reach, is what Master Yang Jin calls spirit clear. And that's where you do the details, but you don't pay attention to them anymore. It's a bit like, when you learn to drive a car at the beginning, you really have to think very hard about, like, when do you do the, touch the gas, touch the brake, do the shift, do the wheel. Now, when you drive, you don't think about any of that, but you still do all those things. That's spirit clear. Movement familiar is what we're working on now, and that's about shape. It's about posture. It's about things you can see. Energy is about no shape. It's something you can't see. And you can see there when I talk about shape and no shape, that's a yin yang. When we talk about Tai Chi divides into yin and yang. One divides into two, and then the yin and yang represent one thing together. So, for example, when we were talking about weight distribution, if you think about weight, it's heavy and light, it's full and empty. If you talk about size, it's big and small. If you talk about temperature, it's hot and cold. With energy, the yin yang of energy is hard and soft. And so at this stage of our practice, we're really focusing on soft because that's the first thing we have to do. What I should also do is just briefly define what is energy. What do I mean by energy? So energy is the English word which we use for the Chinese jin. And jin, if you look it up in the dictionary, means strength. But Master Yang Jin says it's not just strength, it's also got the sense of aliveness and vitality. His grandfather, Grandmaster Yang Zhenduo, used to say that energy is force plus technique. So you have to learn technique to understand energy. And there are three stages. We're working on stage one, which is knowing how to be soft. Stage two is unifying soft and hard. And stage three is doing hard and soft at the same time. So soft is feeling that everything is open and extended, and we practice soft through relax. That is the technique that we use to train soft. That's why relax is such an important method. To unify hard and soft, actually it's all about coordination of the body. And there we actually use single movement practice. So once you've learnt the form, you can take one movement, do it over and over again, do it faster and faster, and you'll be able to start feeling how soft unifies into hard. In the same way that when you're at the beach, the water that you walk into the sea and it's really soft, it just, you can walk into the sea until a wave hits you, because all the water in the wave unifies and delivers a lot of force. The last part, which is hard and soft together, is like a ball being pushed into the water. You push the ball and the water gives way, but it's pushing back. And as soon as you let go, the water comes back. So there's always the two in touch with each other. So that's our theory for today. Let's do some practice. Let's do waist practice. Take a chair if you want. You can do it standing up too if you don't have a chair or don't want to use a chair. I like using a chair because it means I can focus on my waist and I'm not futzing with my knees and my hips. So last week, or the last few weeks, we've been doing vertical. Remember that there are vertical movements and horizontal movements and mixed. So horizontal movement is turning from side to side. And so I will imagine you're mirroring me. So I just go to the right and the left and do it very gently. Particularly if you don't do this every day, you might find that your back is a little stiff tomorrow. This is not a movement we often do. So this is the horizontal movement, just starting and stopping. Now we can do vertical movements, side to side, forward, back. So to the left, to the right, just going side to side. Try and keep your sitting bones even on your chair to make sure your hips are not doing the movement, but it's your spine that's doing the movement. We can also go forward, back. So midriff out, midriff in, out, in. And this is what we were doing in our opening and closing exercise. Now, these movements, we've gone one way and stopped and come back, and that's where we start because that's what the body does when it's not well trained. What we really want is to move continuously without stopping, and that's what we call figure eight. That's mix of horizontal and vertical. So let's say we're going back, around the corner, backwards along the diagonal, turn the corner, back, turn, back, turn and forward, back, and from front to back, and the last one, front to back. Now we can reverse direction, back to front. This is still horizontal. In the horizontal plane, we are actually doing a horizontal movement, but we're also doing vertical movements. You can see that as you come from back to the front, your whole chest is moving in the vertical direction. Now, with these side-to-side movements, we can also do circles. So with this side-to-side movement, let's add a circle. And I'm using my hands to try and show you what my chest is doing. So we're going in a circle, one direction. And really what's moving is your chest, not your hands. And the other way. Now we can do the same thing with our moving our chest forward and back. We can start putting circles in this midriff movement. So try and see if you can find a circle moving the middle of your spine. So forward and down, back and up, forward and down, back and up, and change direction, back and down, forward and up, back and down, forward and up, back and down, forward and up. Now with all those ingredients, we can take this figure eight or infinity sign that we've done in this horizontal plane, and we can actually put little wings on the edges by moving our body up and down at the same time that we're moving it forwards and back. So let's try that. So going to the corner, up and around, front to back, down and up and around, front to back, down, up, around, front, back, down, up at the corner, down across the middle. Let's change direction. Up towards the front, go around the corner, up towards the front, go around the corner, up and up. And we'll actually start applying this movement to an arm movement exercise we're going to start learning in about, hopefully, 5 minutes. And stop. The other thing that we talked about, I won't practice it very much with you, but just to remind you so you can practice on your own, we talked about arm movements. There are two basic arm movements. Swing. So swing, this is in phase, so your chest and your arms are moving at the same time. Or I can move my chest first and then my arms follow. This is out of phase. So this is swing. Swing. And you can see, I'm not going to belabor the point, that you can use this figure eight movement that you're practicing when you're doing this movement too, because that's the way in which you keep the circle continuous. That's swing. There's also rotate. So start with one palm out, one palm back. And so turn your chest. So I'm turning my chest towards my opening palm. This is rotate. This is using a waist turn to rotate my arms. And I stop and flip your palms. Now I'm turning my chest to the back of my hand. So this is rotate, 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 rotate. I can also do swing here's a swing, here's a rotate, and I can do swing and rotate at the same time. Swing, rotate, swing, rotate. And this swing rotate is what we did in the arm movement we learned last week. So let's review that. I'm going to stand up. And for those of you, everybody's standing, some of you are standing up. Good. Some are staying seated. Not a problem. So here's the movement we were doing. So we were starting with the arm out. So if you're mirroring me, this would be your left arm, palm out. It's going to drop, and it's going to go palm backwards. So you can say this is a swing and a rotate. And so you can swing it all the way down to here. So swing here. Now we can do it on the other side. So I'm starting palm out, arm almost straight, and then I'm going to rotate. Elbow hasn't moved much, but my arm is now down, and it comes down to here, and then up. So you can see that to come around this corner, my arm actually rotates. My whole arm is rotating. Now we're going to close this circle. So we're going to close to here. With the left arm, arm goes out, rotates, and closes palm up. Rotate, coming up, and then palm down. Rotate, palm up. And we can do the same on the other side. Up, rotate, palm up, and to here. Now, one of the things that, you could actually imagine swinging your arm as high above your head as it goes, as high above your shoulder as it goes below your shoulder. But generally in Tai Chi Chuan, we don't have the palms above eye height except for a few movements. So not as high here. So let's try combining the two arms. We start with the arms in this position. The forearms are roughly parallel. The upper palm is sitting, so the palm is never in line in this position with the forearm. It's slightly sitting here. The lower one, again, the palm is not in line with the forearm. It's closed slightly. So you're in this position. And the other thing to pay attention to is you can see that my upper hand is forward of me and the lower hand is closer to my body. And as I change, see again, the upper hand is forward, the lower hand is back. Let's do that. Okay. So open, close. And let's slow this down. So let's belabor the change. So here you're going from palm up and palm back to palm back and palm up, and then close. Open. So the top palm is forward, the bottom palm is back. Rotate both arms. Forward palm, the upper palm is forward, lower one is back, and close. Open, close. Yeah, open, rotate, and close. And as you close, just hold that position for a moment. Let me just point out a few things. So it's looking good. So let me just, a few things. There you go, Rebecca, nice. And this, you want to feel your back opening. Remember when we were in this posture for standing practice? The arms are not here. The arms are extended. Even though your lower arm is closer to your stomach, you're still opening your back. You're still feeling your elbows are connected to your shoulder. Let's do just a couple more of these. So open, close. And this is a movement which is everywhere in the hand form. Actually, it's everywhere in Tai Chi Chuan. And it's a Tai Chi. We've got yin and yang. We have open, and then we have close. Open and close. And stop. So before we go on, I want to show you a new movement. Let me just check any questions. Good. So now we're going to do another arm movement, and we'll start just standing like this, and we're going to rotate the whole arm, but we're going to start with the wrist. Then we're going to keep the wrist going and add the elbow, and then we're going to keep the wrist and the elbow going and add the shoulder. Then we're going to add the waist. In the end, it's going to be the waist that makes the arms move, but it's actually easier to think about it starting at the extremities, or at least for my little brain, it's easier to start at the extremities. And I want you to think about this movement mostly being in this plane of the front of my body. Now it's going to be a little flat here because I don't want to go over my eyes, but it's mostly the circle is in this plane here. So let's start with your left arm out. And we're going to drop the fingertips in and rotate. So in and rotate. So this is a wrist rotation. Now keeping the wrist, do the same thing with the elbow. And if you find you have any limitations on your elbows, be careful. This sometimes discovers problems with joints that you didn't know you had. Now we're going to add the shoulder. But we don't stop rotating the elbows and the wrists. So up and closed. Okay, let's do it on the other side. So start with the arm out. So we're going to go down and in with the wrist. Down and in. Then we're going to add the elbow. Then we're going to add the shoulder. And now we're going to add the waist. So you turn your waist as the arm comes out, open the chest, comes back to the other side. So your waist is moving your arms. We can do it at the other direction. So you remember, let's go back to your left arm. We started with the fingertips down and in. We can also go up and in. So let's try the other side. Up and in, up and in. Now we'll add the elbow. Try keeping that circle in the plane of your body. Now add the shoulder. Add the shoulder. Now add the waist turn. And I find it's helpful to sink my knees so that my hips don't cheat. So you're actually turning at the waist, turning your lumbar spine as everything else rotates. Let's try the other side. So I'll just stay sitting here. So up with the fingertips and in. So this rotation here. Now add the elbow. Add the shoulder. Add the shoulder. Now add the waist. So turning your chest from side to side as everything is turning. I like to think of there being an engine in my lumbar spine, and there's gears all the way out to my wrists, and all the gears are working to keep everything turning at the same time. Good. Let's try this in a different posture. So let's do this in a bow stance. So start with a bow stance, right leg forward. Well, this would be your left leg forward if you're mirroring me. Your arm is out towards the diagonal, so to your left front corner. So let's do the same thing, but now we're in a bow stance. Down and around. So down and in. Now bend the elbow, add the shoulder, add the shoulder, add the waist. You can see you can turn your waist and back. For those of you who know the form, this is a familiar movement. This is ward off. This is ward off. Let's do it on the other side. So perform a bow stance. If you're mirroring me, your right leg forward. Start with the fingertips in and around. Now rotate. Now add the elbows. Add the shoulder. Keeping everything rotating. Now add the waist. Turning open as the arm comes up. Turning to your right side as that comes down. Turning to your left. Backwards and forwards. And on the other side. Now we're going to go up and in. Up and in. Wrists. Add the elbow. Add the shoulder. And so for those of you who know the form, see if this movement is familiar. As you start adding the waist turn, it should be very familiar. This is rollback. This is the rollback movement. Next week, we'll add the leg movements to this. Change, bow stance on the other side. Up and in, starting at the wrists, elbows, shoulder, elbows and wrists, all rotating. Big circle. Now add the waist. And stop. We've done a fair bit. We've worked quite a bit on our hips and our waist. So let's just do a gentle cool down exercise. Stand with your feet shoulder width or a bit wider, hands on hips. And very slowly, but if you feel any discomfort in your lower back, back off, don't do this. Just gently and slowly rotate your hips as you bring your body back to quiescence, and the other way. Particularly, we do warm-ups, and in Tai Chi classes, when you start doing the form, you probably won't have your teacher take you through warm-ups. The expectation is you do your own. And the same is true for cool-down. You should do warm-ups and cool-down, particularly when you're doing strenuous exercise. And stop. Let us review what we covered today, and I will bring up the slides. So I talked about the progression that we have. And so we have the progression of learning and the progression of practice. Progression of learning, understand the reason, know your body, and the know your body and understand the reasons, what we focused on and what we are focusing on these 2 months. And then applying the learning to a martial art. Another perspective on this, looking at the same things but in a different way, is to say, well, the first thing that happens is you're familiar with the movement. So movement's familiar, and that's the core of our focus. And actually, as we learn the hand form the first time, that's the core. Then we begin to understand energy. And the reason I talked about energy today is under the heading of understand the reason. It's not, this is something that comes as you do the form. And then eventually you also get to spirit clear. Now, as I said, as we've said multiple times, but you can never say enough, Tai Chi Chuan is a philosophy based on yin-yang theory. And yin-yang theory is one, the Tai Chi divides into two, yin and yang, but the two combine into one. And so for any topic, any subject, a Tai Chi, in Chinese philosophy, there are pairs, there are two things. So for example, temperature, you've got cold and hot, big and small, closed and open. For energy, the yin and yang of energy is hard and soft. As I mentioned, energy is the English word for the technical Tai Chi term jin or jin, translated as strength in the dictionary, but also means liveliness and vitality. And Grandmaster Yang Zhenduo calls it force plus technique. And the goal of our practice is to understand energy's yin-yang change. And that's really what Tai Chi Chuan is about. We're doing it in self-practice. one can also do it with an opponent. And it becomes easier as you spend more time practicing with an opponent. Energy training comes in 3 parts. The first part, and that's where we are focused, and I expect that I'm going to be working on this for quite a few more years, is focus on soft. The second is unifying soft into hard, and then the third is hard and soft are complementary. But the first one is soft, and the method we use is relax. We want to have both soft and hard, and in martial arts, external martial arts like Taekwondo, Kung Fu, Karate usually start with hard and then gradually add soft. Tai Chi Chuan is actually unusual in that we start with soft and gradually add hard. So that's why we focus when we start our training on soft. Then we turn soft into hard, and the method is single movement practice. What we try to do is coordinate the different parts of the body to deliver energy the same way that a wave breaking delivers quite a punch, especially if you're not expecting it. And then soft and hard complementing each other. The way we learn that, the way we practice that is with an opponent, with push hands. And there actually, when my opponent is hard, I'm soft. When I'm soft, then my opponent can be hard. And that's how those two things, the yin and the yang, become one Tai Chi. 同学们，再见。
老师，再见。